Now, Berkeley gets $250 million a year of a direct subsidy from the state of California. That's what makes it a public university. We're defining public university the way most people define public universities. The state gives the university a certain amount of money. Now, Stanford, and Berkeley has 26,000 undergraduates, so we can make a very easy calculation on how much each undergraduate gets. In effect, the direct subsidy is $9,600 per undergraduate, right? That's a simple mathematical calculation. Just keep it in mind. $9,600 from the taxpayers of California on average for every Berkeley student. And you ought to be grateful. Grateful to them. You are grateful, right? And then what about need? Well, we're using a measure of need, which is a Pell Grant. Pell Grants are available to students usually from relatively poor or quite poor families. And if you're Pell Grant eligible, you are quite poor by definition. And so 37% of our students are Pell Grant eligible in Berkeley. So I just wanted to throw that in. So it's $9,600 per student, and 37% of our students are eligible for Pell Grants. Doesn't mean they get them, but they would be eligible in terms of family background and family wealth. So right now, you've got the information you have and need on Berkeley. Let's take a look at Stanford, a private institution. It has $500 million a year, more than Berkeley, in philanthropy. Can we get that into our heads? Stanford gets $500 million a year more than Berkeley in philanthropy. That is, people who are contributing to Stanford. Some of them are rich alumni, some of them are just rich. Now, that means that's a tax subsidy of $200 million more per year than Berkeley gets. When I say tax subsidy, what I mean is these people who are giving money to Stanford can get a charitable deduction on their income taxes. Remember, we talked about this? A charitable deduction is the equivalent of a government subsidy. I mean, for example, Marina von Whitman, a very, very wealthy individual, she gave a $30 million grant not that long ago to Princeton. And the tax subsidy, it's not that the $30 million came out of her pocket. She gave $30 million, but she deducted, presumably, I didn't look at her tax forms, but presumably she made that a charitable contribution, which meant that the federal government, in effect, paid $10 million, assuming her tax bracket as I am, of that $30 million. So her out-of-pocket expenditures were $20 million, and the out-of-pocket government expenditures that government is not getting because of the charitable deduction is $10 million. Did everybody follow that? Do you follow what I just said, what I just did? So there is tax subsidy of $200 million more per year. Now, there are 7,000 undergraduates at Stanford, which means the tax subsidy, which is government spending per student at Stanford, is $26,000 per year. Do you get it? You think that because you're a public university that you're subsidized by government to the tune of $9,600, and that sounds a lot, but actually Stanford students are getting a much bigger subsidy, $26,000 per undergraduate. And let's take a look at Pell Grants. There are 15% who are Pell Grant eligible. So do you see the point I'm getting at? This is a government subsidy that is much larger to an institution that has fewer students and fewer students of need. Is this fair? Is this fair, folks? And I don't mean to pick on Stanford. I'm using Stanford as an example. So here's a proposal, and I want you to think about it, and I want you to think about it. It's just one proposal that has been proposed in Congress, and that is donors to colleges and universities should be able to deduct their donations from their taxable incomes when at least 25% of the university students are eligible for Pell Grants. You see, we're limiting the charitable deduction for college. You can make a lot of charitable deductions elsewhere, but if you want to make a college charitable deduction and call it a charitable deduction and make it deductible from your income tax and get that kind of subsidy back, you have got to make sure that the college you are giving it to has at least 25% relatively low-income students.